Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and this is a tardigrade, also known as a water bear. And they are an interesting creature, and, well, let me rephrase that. To me, they are a very interesting creature. And there is some speculation, even though many people claim this to be disproven, that they did not originate on Earth. And there's a group of people that believe that all life on Earth came from something that landed from space initially. Regardless, water bears can survive in the vacuum of space. We have taken them up into space to test this. They don't look like anything else on this planet, and they can survive for thousands of years without any hydration and get rehydrated and go back to work. They can live without oxygen. They can endure extreme heat and extreme cold. They're just insane. If you look at tardigrade up or water bear up on the internet, you will find dozens and dozens of articles written by just people that are fans of them, by scientific journals, by government agencies. There's just a lot of discussion about water bears. So what would happen if, in your role-playing setting, something enormous like this were to land on Earth? What would happen if this had been dormant in the earth and woke up and it was big enough to consume people whole? What would that look like? Well, I'm running this Wild West campaign and I'm looking for interesting things. And I had drawn a small, silly cartoon of a tardigrade. A very small and silly cartoon of a tardigrade on an envelope. I draw on envelopes just all the time. I'm in meetings, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And maybe I'm watching a movie and I just sketch silly shit. So I had a cartoon of a water bear, and I said, okay, I can't find an idea for a monster. Which for me, like, I'm the monster idea guy. I literally sit around and think of monsters day in and day out. That's kind of... I don't like using traditional monsters. I like being creative and having stuff your players have never seen before every time they fight. So I started thinking about the water bear. And mine was very cartoony and cute. He was not, a horrific monster. And then I thought, but what if he was? What if he was a horrific monster? What if my water bear was horrible and large and terrifying and disgusting, and the party would look at this creature and have no idea how to deal with it? And fortunately, some of the people in my party might not even know what a water bear is. Like, I don't think Mrs. Doom, I don't think I've ever talked to her about water bears. Now, if you look at sanitation water, sewage water, in very old cultures and in places where, like feed lines and lines between tanks and, like underground lines have been compromised, sometimes you'll find cultures of water bears living in your sewage water. So when you look through a microscope, you'll see these things are in there amongst your stock ciliate and stuff, the things, the bacteria that eat the poop. You'll see these. And it's pretty terrifying to think that they're just chilling everywhere in the world and they can't really die easily. So let's get some little pieces of tinfoil and make this guy his little arms. So to make his little arms, we're just going to do little cones. As coney as we can get them anyways. Okay. And we're going to have to make ours a little more pronounced and crazy. I think I'm going to do some of the smaller stuff in the middle parts. I'm just going to get some glue on that. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to do my middle arms a little smaller. I'm going to have some back legs that he can stand up on. I'm going to smooth the surface a little bit with some glue, just to make sure everything kind of holds together and keeps it a good form. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Make some little cones. These don't have to be perfect by any means. They don't have to be identical, because if you look at our water bear, he's not very symmetrical and pretty. He's a little gross, isn't he? He's a little gross. Our reference art here. I ripped that picture of a water bear off the internet because it was a weird color that I hadn't seen ever in real life. So I thought it was interesting. And I don't know if I'm going to use that color scheme paint in mine or not. Because I kind of want to, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I haven't really figured that much out. So we got everything we need for the recipe for a good water bear, though. All right. Mrs. Doom and the little boys aren't home today. They went to go see Minecraft. The game Minecraft can be a lot of fun, especially if you're playing with the right people. But I am not a Jack Black fan. And I just don't think the movie looks good. I opted to stay home and enjoy some adult beverages in downtime. Alright. Now, like I said, for the back legs, I do want them to be a little more pronounced and bigger. So they're still going to be conical, or cones. But they're going to be a little more like that. Little bigger. Okay. We're going to kind of position those in such a way that we can have them kind of balanced on them and standing maybe. That's about the right size. Okay. Let's get that on there. Push it in. There we go. He's getting there. All right, let's take a quick moment and kind of get all this attached. Okay. I'm just going to get glue and rub it in and take care of those seams like this. And all I want this to do is to make it sturdy so it never comes apart on me. And I'm also going to be adding one of our favorite ingredients later on, baking soda and super glue. And that will really, really make this guy sturdy, and it'll add some strength and weight to him. So I'm going to go ahead and set him down for a moment and start making some of his front arms, and I'm going to make these a little more pronounced and big. And I'm going to have them kind of coming, instead of right underneath his face, I'm going to have them a little bit off to the side, and they'll be somewhat more like a, I'm trying to go for more of like a tentacle look, honestly, than a conical. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just something that's going to make them seem a little intimidating and gross. I don't want this to look like this water bear, though many water bears kind of look just like this water bear. There's a couple different kind of tardigrades, though. I don't know if we call all tardigrades water bears, because I am not like super educated on them. I mean, I know some about them. I know, that they actually probably do come from Earth, and like when I say that they come from another planet, that's just like some people believe that, but the reality is they're probably from Earth. Just because they can survive in space doesn't mean they came from space. Though I do wonder at what point we're like, I wonder if these things can live in space. Let's take some up there and check. All right, look, they're living in space. Ooh-hoo. Okay. So we've modified ours to have longer forearms. And let's get some glue and strengthen that structure up like that. Okay, let's get in here, make sure there's no cracks and seams. We'll just rub our glue in there like that. And we're starting to get a decent looking water bear. I don't know if the base I was making for him is dry yet, but it's probably getting there. Okay, sweet. So let's move the picture because it's flammable. Let's lay him on his back here. Where's my fire at? There we go. I'm going to hold him by his feet, and I'm going to get some of these spider webs out of here, because there are quite a few. I'm going to hold him by his hand, deal with some butt spider webs. Okay. And we'll set him like that for a moment. Let me check if his base is ready. All right, so his base is 3.5 inches because I was going to make him huge. And now looking at it, I feel like that might be too big. So what we'll do, this is a coaster that I bought at some kind of secondhand store. And I painted it with clear glue, sprinkled sand on it, and then I soaked super glue in it and put baking soda on it, okay? And I made this cool base. So we're going to get some glue here and here. And we're going to position him up. He might be just a little bit too small for this base, honestly, but I'm okay with that. I'm not unhappy with this decision. Okay. And now I'm going to let me get a new glue stick. I'm going to come on his back with some hot glue and kind of smooth some of that out. I instantly realized the big problem I'm having. Let's get rid of some of this spider webs. Let's make sure he just never comes off this base again. And to do that, I'm going to get some super glue, drip it down off his legs onto the base, just like that. And I'm going to get a little bit of baking soda, which I put away. And we're going to do it from the back side too. Oops, flying glue gun. We're going to soak this down. Okay. All right. There we go. Nice and sturdy. So what I said we're going to go back to that. We're going to get some glue on his back, and we're going to kind of smooth this up a little bit. You don't have to go overboard. Just get some on there. Get his structure kind of looking good. It's a good time to go back and fill in any cracks on the sides and stuff that we missed when we were looking at them from the bottom. Okay, well, let's come up here, get this top part. You'll see where you're missing and stuff because of how shiny it is as this glue cools. The places where you rounded everything off and made it pretty smooth will be turning like a whitish, like a cloudy, and then the shiny spots are not going to be. And you don't have to get every spot either, mind you, okay? Okay, there we go. Something like that. Horrifying. Horrifying, horrifying, horrifying. Do I have any glue left in this? Question of the day. Well, let me get a piece of something to catch this mess. I just have a piece of a coffee box here that'll be perfect for what I want. All right, let's get, oh wait, look at that right there. Got some spider web drama. I do not like spider webs. All right, so we're just gonna, that's empty. Let me get another one. I've been keeping these for another project. Okay, so let's get this on here. A good coat. Make it sloppy if you need to. Okay. I'm going to kind of come along the side here and spread that around like that. Okay. Same thing over here. Okay. Let's deal with that top of the head area. Nice. Sweet. I'd like to thank everybody for spending time with me. I know there's a ton of content on YouTube, and I know I say this every so often, but I do think about this. You know, there's so much out there, and the fact that you guys actually watch and hang out, and I know we don't have an enormous nation of viewers, but the fact that we have people watching every day, and if I miss a day, sometimes people are like, hey, are you okay? And they message me, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I had to work, and life got in the way. I'm so sorry. You know, I feel bad I missed. And then there's some people who I know they know that I missed, and they don't say anything, and I thank them too in my head and heart. And I'm like, thank you for not busting me out. You've been here since the beginning. I cannot believe how many people have stuck with me. I'm just a regular guy in my garage, if you haven't caught on by now. I'm not a celebrity or a Crafters Guild hero. I didn't start YouTube. I didn't begin the trend. I'm just a regular dude. I'm nothing spectacular, and that is very apparent in my work and my production value. I have an announcement. Dave O'Gara, a Miniature Mashup, released a video today. Very, I don't know how to describe it. It was more of a talk than a craft. He, did some work on a, a lighthouse that was from, a thrift shop or something. I don't know where he got it. And he painted that, kind of in the background. Didn't really talk about it much. And he gave some, discussion about corporate greed and stuff like that, but in general it was entertaining. It wasn't like the standard miniature mashup shit I love, but it was, it worked. I was entertained, and I was just glad to see Dave making videos again. He has not been putting out videos at the velocity at which I wish to consume his content. He is probably one of my favorite YouTubers because he is just a dude in a shop making videos, and that is kind of the inspiration. If I had to pin it to any one person, he's the inspiration for Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. Though my aspirations were more about, originally, when I first started this, teaching people about the games, about role-playing games and stuff. That was kind of my original thing. It became apparent early on that people like me to review products, and they like me to build stuff out of garbage. So that's what I kind of stick to. This glue is not empty yet. I am surprised. Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. Okay, let's grab another one. Fortunately, I have plenty of glue. There we go. Lots of glue. I really need to pass gas, so I'm hoping to finish this video any moment. Yes, I know, that sounds stupid, but it's very, very true either way. All right. Ugh, baking soda. Hold on, I'm going to hit this with my hot air gun off to the side. All right, there are a couple spots in here. See, where it's real shiny. where we do need to get some glue in there, and that's an easy fix. Boo-doo-boo. And there's some there. Easy spots to fix. Okay. Let's fix those real quick. And we gotta get these sides here pretty good. No problem. And right there by his little water bear reproductive area. Actually, I think water bears can asexually reproduce. And I also think that they can breed normally as well. So they're pretty magnificent creatures if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but again, the exposure I had to them is predominantly online, and because years ago I had seen one in a microscope at a job, and I was like, "What is this?" And then the technician at the lab came over and he's like, "Dude, that's a tardigrade." I was like, "What?" And he told me what he knew about them, which was not an enormous amount. And then I will say that the internet wasn't as prevalent as a source of information at the time. So it was actually years later that I went back and learned more about tardigrades. Okay, so here's ours. We're not done though, because if we go back to our reference art, whoops, holy crap. We go back to our reference art. We have these antler-like claw structures. I'm not sure how we're going to accomplish those, so let's start with toothpicks. I unfortunately had a bunch of toothpicks fall out in the drawer, which was not ideal. All right. So what I'm thinking is we just kind of bend these around and make little claws. And we'll just put these kind of two together like that. We'll start with a little dab of hot glue to get them in place. And these are obviously super exaggerated from the reference art. Oops. Oops. What kind of drama there? Let's get that shoved in there nice and good. There we go. I'm really excited about this because no one at my table is going to be expecting an enormous tardigrade. No one will be. At least I can't imagine anyone would be. And that's what matters. Now this one, normally I say anybody can make this. I will say, if you were watching what I did, I probably should have stopped and kind of talked about some of these steps a little bit more. This one is a little more art-based, natural talent-based than my normal stuff. And I'm sorry. That I didn't take time to talk about that stuff a little bit more as I was going. I usually do make a serious effort to keep this like where anybody can just nail it. I really try that, like, because I want everyone to be able to have cool miniatures at their table. And I should have done this in steps to where everybody could follow along, and I didn't. I just kind of kept building it and being excited about water bears. going to need tweezers to get in here on these. Alright, we're going to pull that whole thing off. Try again. This is like splayed out and ruined on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my two pieces together and I'm going to put the glue on them and then stick it on the limb. Okay. He's so vile. Oh, I'm so pleased. They're really like Lovecraftian if you look at them. You know, they're not like a pretty, like normal. Which is like if you look like at an octopus, you know. People are like, oh, they're cute, like the little ones and stuff. They're really not. They're vile, gross little monsters. Yeah. Close this thing. Can't get a good grip. We'll just get a little bit more glue. Okay, nice. I don't know if we should really worry about the feet part, the feet claws. I don't know if it's necessary. All right, that claw just got popped off up here. We're just going to get a little dab of glue and put it back on. All right. I got a lot of spider webs on my tweezers here. Hold on, let me try to, it's making it hard to work. All right. Let's try to grab some of these spider webs out of the way. I don't know if we can avoid doing the feet as I'm looking at them. Kind of have to. All right. These are going to be tougher, so let's make them a little more pronounced, kind of like the top ones. I lost my toothpick. There it is. By the way, I'm still holding that gas I need to pass for y'all's sake. Just keep that in mind. Okay, we got 4 toes now. Now, if you look at the images, there's actually more than just like a generic structure for these claws. But to keep this project where we can actually work with it and make it work, make it happen nice, we can't go into all that. We have to kind of make some concessions to keep this cool. I thought this was going to take about an hour to make. I was mistaken. We are going to be under an hour somehow. All right. Now, we do have to get some glue and baking soda to shore this all up and make sure it's all stuck together. So I'm not going to be conservative about this. I'm going to make sure these don't come apart. Okay. It would not hurt to have those kind of soaked in a little bit of glue to make sure everything stays together nicely. Oh, I lost a claw there. Did not want to. It's already got super glue on it too, which is not ideal. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry, a little bit of air slipped out there. Nothing could be done. Held it for like 25 minutes, just kind of leaked. Okay. I'm coming back around and re-dabbing glue on these because I want these to be extra sturdy. Okay. Sweet. All right. Let me wipe my glue tip off because I don't want to put it away wet. Covered in baking soda, it will become a rock and unusable, and I'll have to cut it. Let's make a clear spot here. Let's get our picture of our tardigrade. Spider webs gone. Go away, spider webs. You're not welcome on this craft. All right. So, something like that. Anyways, I'll spray paint this dude, and then we'll come back and we'll paint him. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, and all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. Leave comments. I mean, there's so much that you can do just without paying a penny that's going to drive us in the right direction of sharing this information with people, showing people how they can be making cheap and free minis. This is not a war that I have to fight alone. You guys can make free contributions without spending a dime. That will help us win the battle against corporate greed. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.